I did. Well, good evening, everybody. Thank you very much for coming out this evening. We're going to talk about development potential for the CDOT property at 421 East Arkansas, Birch Street. Many of you probably know Kentro Group is under contract to purchase that site, which is just under 13 acres, as well as a site at 2000 South Holly, about 11 acres. We're looking at having a couple of meetings specifically about the Holly site. We'll focus on that in its own separate forum. So rather than take up any more time, I'd like to introduce Jimmy Balafas, who's the principal of Kentro Group, and Kentro will take it from here and let you know what they've got in mind.
Thank you, Councilman Cashman. Thank you guys again for coming tonight. My name is Jimmy Balafas, principal at Kentro Group. We are the potential developer for the site at 4201 East Colfax. Arkansas. I office on Colfax, so Colfax is just in my DNA. Sorry, Councilman Cashman, I know it's not your district. Goals, agenda tonight. Why are we here tonight? We call this meeting just to give you guys an introductory to who we are as a company. And then the most important part of the meeting, I think, is to hear from you guys. Hear from the community, hear from the residents, and really hear about concerns, hopes, dreams. What we've done is set up 5 stations that will rotate, so you'll have a color on your name tag, and you'll go to that station when we do the breakout session, and we'll have 10 minutes at each session, and we'll have note takers from at each station taking notes. And what we hope to do is compile all this information and then come back to you guys in February and tell you what we heard from the community. We also want to talk a little bit about the process of how we got to this position, the contract, the property. Chris will do that from our company. And then we'll also talk about what you can do with existing site, existing zoning. And then we will be around for questions after the presentation, after the breakout session, to answer any questions informally. So who's our team? Again, Kentro is our lead developer on this. We have Chris, Kathy, Elliot, and Yanni somewhere around here from our company. Norris Design is the land planner, and they're helping us figure out land use for the site. Kinley Horn is our traffic engineer, and CRL is our zoning kind of public outreach teammate. So, quick overview on Kentro Group. The company was founded back in 2004 from with myself and my brother and my cousin. We're Denver natives. I grew up about 10 minutes south from here on Hampton and Monaco. So Denver is a very, very important city to me. I still live in the community, live about 10 minutes from this site. We are a private real estate investment company. We develop, but we also buy existing commercial buildings. So we have a dual platform business. We own about 56 properties throughout Denver, worth about anywhere between 100 and 110 million right now. And so we built this company from scratch since 2004. We have a team of professionals at our company that handles complex situations. We only develop commercial. We've developed some residential in the past, but we are mainly a commercial developer. Some of our guiding principles. Kentro too. Also, the name Kentro means center in Greek, and so all our properties have been focused in the city, and we're going to talk about a couple projects that we've done that you guys might be familiar with. Some of our principles at our company of how we founded the company and how we live our company: integrity. We're not your developer that just is in it for the profit. We live in this community. And we have a saying that was brought over from my father, who's a Greek immigrant, and it's better, we kind of believe in this a lot, it's better to have one eye than a bad name. So we really take that to heart, and we try to always do the right thing. We have a mantra at our company, to always do the right thing. And that's hard sometimes in the business for profit, or in business where you're trying to make a profit, but we strive for that every day. Second is transparency. We're a very open book firm. We have a website. We believe being open book helps resolve challenges early, identify opportunities early, and run for a more efficient process. So transparency is very much so in our DNA. Community collaboration. As I stated, we care about this community. All our projects have been in Denver, and we really are sensitive to what the community needs when we do our projects. My Uncle Sammy lives at 1619 South Kearney. I've been coming to this neighborhood since I was 4 years old. My Aunt Sophia lives at 1493 South Monaco, also in the Virginiaville neighborhood. So these properties that we drive by, mean a lot to us. They're not just a property that we're going to go by and be like, yeah, we did good on that and we made money. No, these properties are really going to be something that we can be proud of and hopefully be proud together as a community when we develop these. Communication, we've been told that we over-communicate, and we hope to prove that to you guys through this process. This process, Chris will dive into how long this process is going to take, but during this process, you will hear from us or our team. Flexibility, adaptive, problem solving, every site that we've done has been different, and so you have to have skill sets that really can be flexible and adaptive. No project is the same, no land is the same, no tenant's the same, so we really have a strength that, when we enter into agreements, that we have to be flexible to get deals to the finish line. I want to talk to you guys about a couple projects that we've done that we're really proud of and our community, we believe are community staples. In 2009, our company bought an entire city block on East Colfax, and it's between York and Josephine. And so we redeveloped that whole block. It was a former Colorado Free University site, and we took an old historic building, added 2 new buildings, and added uses that the community really needed. Today, we have restaurants, offices, daily convenience needs that really support the surrounding neighborhoods. This project was a project that you would be kind of scared to walk at when we first bought the site. There was homeless people hanging out, and today we really believe that it's probably one of the most exciting blocks on East Colfax. The next project that we did in 2012, we bought a piece of ground at 8th and Colorado Boulevard. We successfully rezoned that property. We took it through the Hilltop Neighborhood Association, Congress Park, and all the surrounding communities, and successfully rezoned the property and brought the first Trader Joe's to Denver. Since 2012, we also bought where the snooze property is. So Kentro now owns from 8th to 7th and Colorado Boulevard to Albion. And we also believe this project that we completed is a community gathering spot and something that we're very proud of when people go by. Indeed. So again, we're in it for the long haul. We're not in it for the short term. Our company really cares about this community, being from this community, being born and raised in this community, and I think you'll hear that from us over and over again. I want to pass it over to Chris just to kind of talk about how we got into this position and talk a little bit more specifically about the site.
Thanks, Jimmy. I'm Chris. I'm Director of Development at Kentro Group. So the reason why we're all here, CDOT is relocating its headquarters, and they're also relocating 2000 South Hawley, which is Region 1 headquarters. And they're going to move to Federal in Colfax sometime in spring, summer of this year. They decided at that point that they would go and sell these 2 assets. And being a state agency, what they have to do is go out to local agencies to see if they want to buy first. If nobody did that, then they go to out to the public. In this instance, they had a number of agencies that were interested in purchasing both assets. The city of Denver was the successful bidder. They were happy to help control and see these 2 prosper into great developments. The city of Denver then went out to 15 qualified developers, and we were the successful group that were selected for both projects. And that was based on our capability and our commitment to really doing a great community-type development there. So we kind of outlined where both are just to kind of give you an idea of how close they actually are. And they're all in Virginia Vale, which is kind of interesting. 2000 South Hawley, we will be holding another public meeting for that to just give you the information of what our business plan is there. And that'll be at a secondary meeting at a later date, maybe in February probably. Tonight, we really wanted to focus on 4201. And there, to give you just a quick contract outlay of timing and how that's all working, we have a due diligence and government approval, and typically that's to go do all your surveys, environmental, trying to start figure out what you can lay out and what would work from a use standpoint. And government approvals is what we're doing today, trying to rezone the property and get something that's going to work for the neighborhood. That we have 150 days, and then we have another three 30-day extension options thereafter. So that's 240 days of total due diligence and government approvals to really figure out what our game plan is going to be. Next, closing is set up in two fashions. It's basically tied to the later of either CDOT relocating or 30 days post those two timelines of due diligence and government approvals. There is two unique factors on this contract, and one is rezoning, which we're here talking about today. And then the second is to build 140 affordable units in Denver or contribute to the Denver Affordable Fund. The state is also retaining a portion of the property. If you know the property is where the big tower is, it's a microwave tower. That sits on about a 9,000 square foot parcel. So they're keeping that as an owner, and that's going to be there for the long haul. And I'll show you this on the next slide of where that's located if you're not positive or haven't seen it. So this is the existing site. So we've highlighted that microwave that I was just talking about. We're just saying it's not a part, but you can kind of see how it fits into the overall development. Currently, the site's roughly 13.2 acres, and that also includes a parking lot on the east side of Birch that CDOT just uses for parking today. The site comprises 1 to 4 story buildings. The main headquarters is 4 stories that sits right in the center of the site. There's 459 parking stalls on the main site, and then the site I was talking about on Birch, that consists of 46 parking stalls. Right now, there's 650 employees that come there daily, and they access the site through 8 different access points. And we tried to identify that with the orange arrows that are sitting there. There's a lot of different uses. Obviously, CDOT has a big component here, and it's mainly office. There's a printing facility on the south side near Birch on the southeast corner. There's some vehicle maintenance that they're doing on the north side. There's a water quality training facility that you can kind of see the dirt area closest to Colorado. And then they have some material storage up there also. So I'll go ahead and hand this over now to Stacy at Norris Design, and he'll give you surrounding land uses and the current zoning and give you a little more information there.
Thank you, Chris. Good evening. I'm Stacy Weeks with Norris Design, and we're assisting Kentro with the planning process. And we wanted to start the setting up the baseline for where we are today with the rezoning process. When you initiate this process, you need to understand what the existing conditions are to help understand what direction you're going to go through the planning process. And part of that discussion too is looking forward to hearing what we hear from you this evening. So, as many of you know, with the CDOT site, this is a campus education and institutional zoning district, which is currently comprises a majority of the site in the center, as well as the small parcel along Birch here. That is the majority of the zoning area. In addition to that, as part of the site that is part of the campus, is a small area called Mixed Use 5. So that's in the suburban district, but that allows for buildings that could be up to 5 stories. So that's kind of the core zoning that we're looking at today on the site. As we start the process, we also look at some of the adjacent zoning, which includes suburban multi-unit. As you go around the northeast of the site, currently the suburban single-unit development, which is the traditional residential in the southeast. And as you come back out to the Colorado commercial corridor, there's a mix of mixed use of different varying types and uses in that area. As part of that, the intent of the campus education and institutional zone is for campuses that are associated to a transition to a residential area. So we wanted to highlight what the building form and development intent is per the city under this current use, to understand kind of the makeup of what the allowances are for the site. So currently, this would allow for a height of 150 feet, and it also has required setbacks as you transition from residential areas and as you move upwards with a development plan. This was set to allow for different campus type uses. I'll share some of the primary uses that are available under this zoning district. But this gives you the idea of form that is allowed for the block as it could be used today. And as you translate that to a section, it starts with what is set as a building form of what's called a base plane, which creates the transition from the residential area. So there is a minimum height of 75 feet along that edge, and then it goes upward if you add additional height currently under the zoning today. As I mentioned, though, the primary uses today in this zone may include uses that are residential, which could be multi-unit development, also group living, public services. It could allow for recreation, indoor recreation, and arts complexes. It also, one of the key pieces that was part of the educational side is schools as well. As part of the rezoning, we also wanted to note that retail currently isn't allowed in this district, and that is part of what the consideration is, as I'll share momentarily, on some of the thoughts are for opportunities for this site being adjacent to the Colorado commercial corridor. So as many of you know the site better than us, I'm sure, but we would want to just highlight some of the key uses that we're considering as we think about moving forward in the planning process. And it's really the existing character of the area and how you think about the transitions as you move into the planning and different development forms that are available to us on the site. So as we start from the east and move towards the site, obviously it's the suburban residential areas that are existing today. As you go north here, you have the Kimberly Ann multi-unit, Urban Mint, the Cambridge Apartments, so different types of formats of multi-unit, multi-family development. As you go north, you have the Abra Body Shop. You also have the apartments that are along here, and the office complex near Old Chicago parking lot. And today, currently, Good Times is along the edge across the street. You have the Empire Towers. And as you come along the south edge, sorry, my dot is not strong on here, but you have the Lewin Technology and then AAA there. So we have a multitude of uses that we are considering how that relationship and how that influences the planning form as we move through this process and consider the next steps in the rezoning. So as we started conceptualizing opportunities with this site, we want to make sure that transition occurs to make a strong relationship and reflect uses that are appropriate. So beginning from the eastern area, we see the opportunity for residential and mixed use on the eastern edge of this, and then moving more towards Colorado, an opportunity for commercial and a mixed use format as well. We see the opportunity to create a Main Street scenario to try to energize and activate this property and really create a place and a space and a destination that would be available and open to everyone in the community. But it's really a really exciting opportunity where we can look at different formats of building form and different uses and integrate that in a way that creates a strong relationship, but also creates a quality project and opportunity for the community to build on. One of the things we do want to note that the parking lot currently today at the corner of Birch and Arkansas would be definitely something that we focus on residential. So in terms of building form, this is what we wanted to share, just simple images, and as part of the breakout sessions, we'll talk more about different formats of building form, but Denver, the city of Denver does a wonderful job with the building code, or zoning code form-based design, and that really helps set a quality format for design and development of buildings. So looking at the opportunity for multifamily mixed-use projects with ground floor retail opportunities and integration of potentially office in those formats. Those type of opportunities are things that are being considered. We want to hear your input on, as well as the opportunity of how the streetscape and plaza opportunities are integrated into this. So that's the high level. That's where we are today. We're thinking about where the zoning is currently, what's afforded under that, and where we go next as we move through this process. And Sean Malley with CRL is going to talk a little bit further about the next steps and the breakout session.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. My name is Sean Maley. So I'm just very briefly, and then we'll start to hear from you, which is the primary purpose of tonight's meeting, to talk through kind of what we see in terms of convening some neighborhood outreach and this rezoning process. So tonight is the first of many meetings. Appreciated hearing Jimmy talk about communication and over-communication and being transparent. Hopefully we would like to nag you guys and meet with you every month at minimum and communicate frequently in between meetings as we chew on information and try to come up with some concepts that respond to what you guys have been saying. So to do that, we'll obviously be communicating with Councilman Cashman's office, working with Virginia Village Neighborhood Association, and the other neighborhood associations around the site, Corey Merrill, Cook Park, and Chris also mentioned the Holly site. We will be setting up meetings in regards to the South Holly site as well. We wanted tonight to, if you would all indulge us, to we kind of bifurcated these stations to purposefully get diversity of input. So I'll get into the slide that kind of describes how we would like to go through tonight, but again, we're going to be holding regular meetings and no two meetings will be the same. And then as Chris mentioned, at some point we need to commence the rezoning process from the campus zone district. Again, there are certain uses and allowances within campus, but we don't see that as the neighborhood synergistic future vision that this may lead to. Plus the contract also requires a rezoning, so something would have to be reevaluated should we not choose to rezone that. So anyways, from when an application is filed, typically rezonings in Denver take about 6 months. This is obviously a larger site and pretty complicated, so the time frame is something we're going to be communicating with you guys on, and I think that it does speak to why we want to get going and gathering a lot of input from you guys here early on. From that point, CPD staff, community planning and development, has an internal review process. We actually have 2 folks from CPD here tonight who will be floating around and answering some questions if you have city-related questions. Those 2 gentlemen are down here, Steve Nally and Andrew Webb. We appreciate you guys coming tonight, and again, they're here to roam around and answer some questions. But the rezoning process involves not only all the upfront neighborhood outreach and work that we see as so important, but also planning board public hearing, council committee meeting, and another public hearing at city council towards the end. And it's not listed last because it's not important, but traffic study is also something that we see as a very vital part of this process. Curtis Rowe with Kimley Horn is here, and he will be talking at the kind of existing conditions, infrastructure, traffic station tonight. But that will be a part of the process in some of those next meetings where we can be talking about some of the traffic analysis that has already begun for this site. So if you could flip to the next slide. We're just going to get going with this, and again, if you guys would indulge us, here's the plan. So everybody should have a name tag when you came in that has a starting color on it. We will go to the stations, and I'll provide just a little color on them, but people at the station will do that as well. The first station, red, is residential, and that's where we're going to talk about fitting in with the residential fabric of the neighborhood. There's also a contract stipulation for some affordable or mixed income at the site, so we can answer questions on that and have some information as well. The blue station, commercial and retail, we want to hear about what types of uses you would like to see here, what you don't think necessarily fits here. Mixed use, the Main Street idea, some of the walkways, that's commercial and retail. Station 3 is existing conditions and infrastructure. We have our traffic engineer who will be at that station along with others. And then, we wanted to hear, aspirations or hopes and dreams, what you would like to see out of the site. We think that's obviously very important because we want to deliver on that. And then also at the fifth station, we know there are concerns, there are questions, and we want to get all of that written down and have that dialogue with you as well. So with that, we will start the breakout sessions. We'll have a timer. It's every 12, actually not every 10 minutes. So we'll do every 12 minutes rotation, and we're going to be taking vigorous notes and answering a lot of questions, hopefully. So thank you all very much.